Chief Operating Officer, Universal Business School, and the Corporate Relations team headed by Professor G. Suman, and all the students who are present here. Goddess Saraswati is an embodiment of wisdom, knowledge, and learning, as it is our holy tradition to worship her before the start of any knowledge acquiring event. To solemnize the event, Shreya Sarkar and Happy Chaudhary from the Cultural Performance team of UBS to present Saraswati Vandana. And I would also like to call upon all our dignitaries and faculty, the Corporate Relations team, for lighting the lamp. Let's welcome them to the huge round of applause.
आएगा
अरे खरं
अभी नहीं आएगा
आवाज जाणार की आम्ही शिवाय देणार आहे आवाज जाएगा
With the lighting of the lamp, we believe that we find the inner light within us. We get to the core to know who we are and discover that our ultimate purpose is to just know who we are. Thank you. And it was such a beautiful way to connect with the God. I am sure Ma Saraswati will bestow her blessings on each one of us and give us the wisdom to make this world a better place. Mr. Tarun Singh Anand has established Universal Business School in 2009, India's first green business school in Mumbai. He has an MBA from SPJMR and pursued executive education at Michigan Business School, USA, Tuck School of Business, USA, IE Business School, Spain. He has brought global practices in management education to India through partnership with leading global universities in UK, USA, France, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, and Bulgaria. At 35 years of age, he became the youngest chairman and managing director of Thomson Reuters, South Asia, and served on the board of ANI. Mr. Tarun Anand co-founded and served as the global head of strategy and CEO at Asia Pacific at the FX market space in Hong Kong and won several international innovation awards. In 2005, he was promoted to the global head of treasury to run a $2 billion business across 136 countries based in New York. Mr. Anand joined the Reuters Innovation and Venture Board based out of London. Mr. Anand has over 25 years of experience in banking, financial services, and education, including working for Standard Chartered and HSBC. He's a TEDx speaker and was awarded Education Evangelist of India by Great Place to Study in 2020. He was selected as the Global Goodwill Ambassador in 2018. And due to some urgent work, he's not here with us today, but he has sent a virtual message for all of us. Lights are off.
Very good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for coming to the UBS campus. Absolutely delighted that very good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for coming to the UBS campus. Absolutely delighted that you would come and grace our campus today on this wonderful occasion of the UBS ESG and HR Symposium. This is a symposium we run every year where we get leaders like you to come and grace us and our students. We are very looking forward to the excitement that our students have and the amazing nuggets of knowledge and wisdom that you're going to share with them. I'm truly grateful for you to make this time for us. Today, unfortunately, I had to rush to the Mantralaya, and the government's not yet there, so I had to run. So I'm so sorry I couldn't be there today. But I'm sure you will contribute to the learnings of our students and the betterment of the overall world at large. One thing I'd like to tell you about UBS, we are very, very passionate about the green agenda. We were India's first B school way back in 2009. And so we've done a huge amount of work on the green thinking, sustainability practices, and our CSR outreach in the villages. You will hear over the next few hours what we've done to make this world a better place. And that's what we encourage all our students to continuously contribute to the well-being of the society. We ourselves play our role in the environment, from planting 7,000 trees in the last decade on this campus, where we inherited a completely barren land. We've got 70% of our power comes from solar power. I'd also be delighted to say that we are now have a very, very interesting model of rainwater harvesting, where we had lakes built by damming certain portions of the land, And now we're going one step further of ensuring that the aquifers are, get the direct rainwater, and that will ensure that we will become completely sustainable and 100% ensure that the water tables rise in this region. So it will not only benefit our campus, but all the villages around. We also have an intelligent, green intelligent building. So the walls that you're seeing outside is not the actual wall. The wall is here. What you see is here. So we've created a natural vacuum to ensure that there is less amount of heat transmitted, less air conditioning required, and therefore we save electricity and of course UV rays. The same thing with all the glass at the campus. It's called DJU glass, double jointed with a vacuum inside. So the entire formation of this campus is on the green agenda. We keep doing things like we've now got into waste recycling. We've invested in huge waste recycling through manure, machinery, green mobility, and we can keep going on. And our students play a huge role in this entire journey. So what you would say today will spark their interests, spark their minds, and make them better human beings and better citizens. On the welcome note, I'd like to just add, this is your campus. Please feel free to come here with your families, with your friends, with your companies. We'd be delighted to host you in this wonderful environment of culture. Finally, I wish the conference an amazing conference, and I'm sure it will be a huge success, and our students will have that aha moment, which is what we love when you come and talk to them. Thank you once again, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for the beautiful message. Now it gives me immense pleasure and excitement to begin the discussion for panel 1. And without any further delay, we would discussing on the topic, Decoding Future HR, Today's Challenges and Tomorrow's Strengths and Opportunities. In his 29 years of experience, our guest today has partnered to build ING to become one of the India's top 30 best companies to work for. He has expertise in creating values through impactful HR business partnerships, driving innovative HR practices, and providing trusted consulting to a management. His name is Mr. Rajesh Manik, an alumni of SP Jain and Research and C's College of Management Studies. He has recognized as the HR Professional of the Year at Asia's Best Employer Award in Singapore. He has been actively speaking at the leading HR summit in India, London, Barcelona, Istanbul, Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. He leads HR initiative for growth, restructuring, turnaround, and footprint changes in metrics organization around the time zone. He has worked with companies like HSBC, Thomson Reuters, ING Asia Pacific Association of Communication Directors, and is currently the Global Talent Board Director at Deloitte. He is also a certified executive coach, team coach, and certified professional coach for Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Centered Coaching. With this being said, I would like to invite Mr. Rajesh Manik onto the stage and take his seat. Please give a round of applause.
Just a correction. If you read certain things directly from LinkedIn, some things get a little exaggerated. So it is not that. So I presently work with Deloitte. I've been there for about 7 years, and I've led the tax practice for Deloitte. And being in that role, I've also been on the talent board for the tax practice. The way he was narrating, it seemed a very larger than life kind of a profile. But I guess we'll get to know each other better.
With over 16 years of experience developing people strategy to support business goals in companies like HDFC General Insurance Company, ASK Group, Wall Street Forex. He is the head of institutional equities, private equity, asset reconstruction, mutual funds, credit AIF, digital business, allied wealth, real estate broking, and international offices, an alumni of Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies and the Xavier College. He is currently working as the director of HR of JM Financials. He is an expertise in talent acquisition management and development, performance management, compensation and benefits, change management, HR transformation, employee engagement, HR systems, policy development and implementation, capability development, leadership, and success planning. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Terence Raphael to the stage, and sir, please take your seat.
No, I share Rajesh's perspective here. I think this is definitely a larger than life introduction. Please don't go by that. We are no Avengers. We are just normal HR professionals.
I feel privileged to introduce our next guest, who is a passionate HR leader with 14 years of experience in HR domain, specializing in talent acquisition, performance management, employee engagement. His name is Mr. Ashish Banka. He is currently working as an HR director at Delivery, leading a team of over 100 HR professionals. He is also a founder and currently the national president for HR Sampark, a non-profit trust having focus on HR conclave, knowledge sharing, industry academic events, and CSR action. Post his education in prestigious institutes like IMT Ghaziabad, IHM Bhubaneswar, he has worked with companies like Reliance Retail, Jio, Qatar Airways, Indian Railways, and Voltas. He has received awards such as Global Employment Engagement Award for Merrick's Neuroscience and Best State HR Award for Reliance Jio. He is an OKR expert and a certified 15 FQ Plus analyst. Please welcome Mr. Ashish Banka onto the stage. He operates from a point of clarity, of purpose and influence, a candid dialogue to ensure that desired business outcomes are maximized. With over 18 years of rich experience across the entire gamut of HR resources, he firmly believes in execution and constant course correction. He has led cross-functional teams in enabling technology enhancement, sales analytic, and corporate strategy. He is able in handling complex assignments such as cultural integration, business unit setup, mergers, rationalization, right sizing, and grievance redressal. His name is Mr. Jonathan D'Souza, an alumni of Indian School of Business, the Wharton School, and Northwestern University. He has worked with companies like ING Investment Management India Private Limited, HR Annexi, Hudson, Global Services Private Limited, Tech Mahindra Business Services, Logistic Integrated Private Limited, and is currently the Chief Human Resource Officer at Wellspun One Logistics Park. It gives me great pleasure in welcoming Mr. Jonathan D'Souza onto the stage.
Half a heart to say good job on introductions. I'm enjoying it. Just that these two guys decided to reduce their salaries and compensation by reducing their designations, but I know it's tough reading introductions, so I didn't get your name, but keep it up, great job.
An alumni of University of Rajasthan, XLRI Jamshedpur, who has over 14 years of experience in the companies like Wipro, BPO, TCS, GEBBS, Healthcare Solution, Androck, and is currently associated with Broker Network. He has majorly worked with BPOs and BPS industry and has supported domains like BFSI, Pharma, Life Sciences, HRM. As a human resource professional, he he has been a part of functions like talent engagement, talent acquisition, which broadly covers employee life cycle management. He is high yield business leader in the performance improvement using effective execution. Please welcome Mr. Ravi Anand Karwar onto the stage. Please give a big round of applause for the panel. In his 27 years of professional journey, he has served universities, autonomous postgraduate institutions for social work and management studies. He has contributed to more than 70 publications, including books, book chapters, research papers in ABDC, Scopus, and other reputed peer-reviewed journals. He has completed 100 plus certification courses from Coursera, edX, Elsevier, Copenhagen Business School, LinkedIn, and other platforms. We are proud to introduce our Director of Quality Assurance, Dr. Indrajit Goswami. He is a member of Advisory Board of Harvard Business Review and a member and reviewer of 10 national and international research journals, including Sage, Scopus, UUGC Care Journal. He is a member of NIPM, ISSA, ISD, ISSS, NAPSWI, ISPSW, U3A, Rashtriya Samaj Vigyan Parishad, Bharatiya Shiksha Mandal. Please give a big round of applause for sir. And without any further delay, let's begin our discussion on the topic.
Very good evening to all the dignitaries on the panel. Very good evening to my colleagues, teachers of UBS, my dear students. So, one particular word has been very popular among the academicians as well as the practitioners: disruption. 2 days back, a topic was given to me, and I was requested to make a plan to how to go forward and do things. Today, when again I have seen the printed schedule, I found a topic has been changed. It's a disruption. So our preparation was, the entire panel members, they had a different preparation. Now we have been given a different task. And Mr. Rajesh, in the very beginning of this function, he told me, he said, let us not go into AI, ML, IoT and all those things. Let us make it very simple and open discussion in the domain of HR. So I'll try my best. So may I know from the organizers how much time is given to us, since you're a little bit late in terms of half an hour, okay. Yeah, because see, I'm an academician, so they have very nicely introduced, and we are a little bit safe. So we do not have this kind of juggling between different kind of positions and posts. We are always a teacher. So we have to go back to library and something to read and then understand and then ask questions. In the month of March, April, May, June, in 3 months, there are 3 important research papers published in Elsevier. And I can quote the titles also, but all 3 papers, whatever I have studied, is on AI, ML, IoT, all those things, new area, new technologies, and their role in future organizations and HR practices. And whenever I was going through, I found none of the authors could come to a conclusion about what is going to be the model of use of HR or new technologies to transform HR as a function or operation. So in this context, I have requested my all 5 panel members to first round discussion. I just request all of you to have a kind of overall idea about what is going to happen with this entire industry, 4.1, 4.0, and HR practices in general, how it is going to be impacted by the new technologies, especially AI, ML, IoT, and all other things, whatever we have virtual reality. And then we'll go into specific questions. So may I request Mr. Rajesh to start with?
So I'll start at a very macro level. If I were to look at the world of HR, majority of the people in HR are women. So this morning when I was seated over here and I saw that the lighting of the lamp was done by at least 2-3 women initially, I was just reminded of that quote that behind every successful man is a woman, but behind every successful woman is a woman only. Okay? Because in HR, the women who have been so successful at different workplaces, the credit primarily goes to them for being so determined and leading the journey as a professional, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. So, since we're talking about HR and HR of tomorrow, probably a lot will change tomorrow. But the woman and her leadership in HR will continue. Okay? So, that's the first point I want to make. There are certain topics which are very difficult to digest and maybe not easy to explain if in 30 minutes 5 speakers have to speak. So, like what our leader S.V. Nathan says, who's the national HRD president and also the reporting boss of both Pallavi and myself, we say that when there is a good question, I will answer. If there's an outstanding question, then I'll ask a colleague to answer. So anything to relate to do with technology, I'll leave it to some of my other colleagues to answer. But let me talk to you on a very macro level. See, you are speaking to some of us who are now in a HR leadership position or a CHRO position. And what we're talking about is HR of tomorrow. And tomorrow, once you complete your MBA program, you will get into your corporate life. Over a period of time, you will grow in your journey. Now, I actually wanted to change the topic of HR of tomorrow from HR of tomorrow to firm of the future. This is something that we use at Deloitte as well. What is the firm of the future going to be? And in that firm of the future, what is the role of HR going to be? If I just talk about HR of tomorrow, I'm in a way isolating HR from the rest of the organization and the business in some way. What will happen to the organization will also determine what should be the contributing and enabling and influencing role of HR. So that's the first thought I would like to leave with you all, that what is going to be the firm of the future and what is the role of HR in that. Second, what we've observed is the past will not determine the future. So far we've lived in a particular manner, we've worked in a particular manner, organizations have grown in a particular manner, businesses have succeeded in a particular manner. But this past will not determine the future. And the sooner the leadership, the people understand it, the better we are prepared for it. So that's the second thought I would leave. And I'm going to be very succinct, 5 thoughts in this first opening session from me, and another one I'll bring another 5 dimensions. The third point is there are certain belief systems which each of us carry, and leaders also carry, organizational management also carries. Now that belief system we need to evaluate, that when we are looking at tomorrow, are there some belief systems which are holding me back, or which is holding my organization back, or which is holding my organization's culture back? Because when we are looking at the future, we'll have to look at it very differently. So that's the third thought I want to bring in. Fourth is the way the dynamics of the business world are changing. It is also important for HR to understand with the leaders that what are going to be our growth engines. Where should we build capabilities? Where should we build talent? Where should we build skills? These are very inherent subjects for HR to understand in a very blended manner with business. And what are our growth engines? Where should we invest? Where should we consolidate? Where should we build capabilities? So that's the fourth point. And last point I want to say is our workforce is changing. It's changing significantly. In organizations like us, Generation Z, which is 1996, 97 and later born people, we should be at about at least more than 20% of our workforce today. In another 2-3 years, we would be about 1/3 of the workforce. So every 1 in 3 individual would be a Generation Z. But at the same time, we also have multi-generational workforce, meaning people who are born in 1950s are also in the workforce. People who are in the 1960s, 70s, 80s are also in the workforce. And the Generation Z is the most assertive generation that probably this world has ever seen. Because what we could never say or independently do, uh, this generation is a very sorted generation. It's also a now generation, meaning living in the now. And Ashish and I, we were traveling, and obviously UBS is quite a picnic drive away. So during that conversation, he was saying that sometimes in our leadership positions, it becomes difficult even to say no to certain matters, and we deal with it differently. But the Generation Z is a very, very sorted, in the now kind of a generation, and it's not going to just accept things it is. And you all know it better because you all are that generation. So, multi-generational workforce, Generation Z occupying 1/3 of the workforce. Where should we invest and build capabilities? What are some of the belief systems that we should, do away with as we move into the tomorrow? And whatever we have done in the past, those will not take us into the future. And the first one, that HR of tomorrow, if you have to put it broadly under a subset, then the main master or the mother umbrella would be, what should the form of the future be? And in that form of the future, what should be the HR's role as a contributor, enabler, influencer, advisor? So I've opened this on a very macro level, and I'm sure my colleagues will accordingly take it forward.
For Terence, I'd request you to highlight a little bit about HR of tomorrow, HR for tomorrow. What would be the difference? If you can highlight.
Sure. So I'll take from where Rajesh said. So I think this is one of the favorite topics now, right? Everybody wants to predict the future. Everybody wants to hop onto the bandwagon. And HR of tomorrow is one such topic. Someone or the other wants to have a say in that. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. So I said, I'll jump onto the bandwagon. So I went and I asked a very senior HR professional, what do you think is the future of HR professionals? And he goes like, no HR. And I'm like, sir, आपको retire हो गए, HR भी retire हो गया, क्या आपके साथ? But he made a very valid point. What he was trying to say is that like the HR of the past is gone. Now, when we talk about the HR of the future, and a lot of people have this fear, right, from robots taking away our jobs to AI or ML doing what you're doing, the operational activities, etc., all of that, and there's this fear that is happening. So there will be jobs that will be automated. There will be roles that will be integrated. There will be certain tasks that you will have to delegate. Some will have to be done right away, and some will have to be delayed. So this is what is going to happen, and it's going to happen gradually in some cases. In some organizations, probably it's going to happen faster. That's going to be business need with family drivers. Yeah. One thing's for sure, that if you develop yourself and if you move with the time, you will definitely get to do more meaningful work, because there is going to be an opportunity that is going to open up for each one of us to step up and move into a role where we will get to do more meaningful work. So that's one. And also with that, the people who will get to do that are the people who are extremely agile, right? You are able to adapt and you are able to provide value to business. So you need to build a business-centered approach. Just having average knowledge of what business you are in and what's happening is not going to make the cut. So you need to have very strong business acumen. Okay. Organizations and HR that were built for the 20th century are going to find it very difficult and are going to, you would see them fade away in some time. So you need to build capabilities for sure, right? And we always say that HR are the gatekeepers. The future of HR is now to move from being gatekeepers to becoming game changers.
For Ashish, just I want to make it simplified so that you can have some platform to speak about. In the very beginning, so it was scientific management. So engineering was the driving force. Then we have seen in the Hawthorne experiment, with behavioral science emerged and started dominating the management decision making and execution. Now we are living in an age where technology is outperforming human beings. So in these three contexts, how do you evaluate and foresee the future of HR professionals?
सबसे पहले सबका धन्यवाद वहाँ के सभागृह में सबका अनुरोध करता हूँ। सबसे पहले अगर मैं कुछ बोलूँ, मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग एक नारा दें, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय। एक जोरदार तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से यूबीएस का सम्मान कीजिए। Coming back to Professor what he asked question, why I did specifically where we go. Whatever tomorrow comes, whatever past, whatever present, it is changing for everybody all the time. Just to take a minute on me, 10 years back I was in Calcutta, in a very remote part of Calcutta. Don't know what to do at that point of time. Never thought I would be director HR after 10 years. I did not know what was tomorrow. I don't know what is tomorrow. I am there today. Tomorrow I might have an obituary about me. That's a fact of life. And I will be given, a medical insurance will be given to my family. So tomorrow I have not seen. I don't live in tomorrow. I'm sorry. I live in present. Coming back to what is HR for me, I never thought it is a department. My fellow colleagues might, would be narrating very valuable points and I resonate with them. For me, HR is not a department. ये पूजा है. आप जो यहाँ पे लोग बैठे हैं, and I'm using Hindi because I feel more comfortable. Not that I cannot speak English, but I feel more comfortable because I can say my heart out, and that's what connects me to people. सबसे पहले आप लोग अपने यंगिस्तान मेरे भाई और बहनों जो बैठे अपने लिए जोरदार ताली बजाइए. Because it is very important to appreciate yourself. If you can't appreciate yourself, you cannot appreciate anybody else in your life. So feel proud where you are about your country, about your education, about your parents, about yourself. HR is nothing. While all of us are there, we're discussing a topic. Some of you might be in second, third semester. Some of you might not take HR as a subject also. What for does it resonate? And I was speaking to Mr. Rajesh, why we are going and speaking to a topic. What is for you HR for tomorrow? My father does not understand HR. He says achar. So he says achar. He cannot understand HR what he does. So what for you all it is there, I speak what helps you. To culminate the question what Professor Goswami asked. So for you all, HR is nothing. HR is how you drive yourself, how you drive the society, how you drive the people. R is what? HR is, H is human. We all are human beings. R is respect, recognition, and the third part is is relationship. Today, a lot of people come down to social media, age where we were not using social media tab. Do we have internship opportunity? Do we have job opportunity? It does not work out today. In LinkedIn, FB, we say connections. What is your effort to build into relationships is what HR is. And that is what we as people, enablers, guide you all to do. Coming back to tomorrow, I think for tomorrow, whatever era we would have been, Professor, I think 3P and 3C model has always worked. And which I have been using for last decade, 3P and 3C. 3C is nothing, it's communication, conduct, and connect. Wherever you will go, you will work with people around. In Bengali, my mother used to say, I don't know, how many of you Bengalis there? Great. So she used to say a proverb that Nodire tir dekha hole na da hole, manushe dekha hobe. That means even if you don't touch the banks of the river, the people and people connect. So HR is all about connect. How many of you have connected each other? How many of you have built relationships of each other? That is what HR is. Wherever you go, sales and marketing, IB, international operations, does not matter. It is your life zone. Some of you might have taken a loan and come here. Some of you might be come from very affluent families. What you make out of your career and do you help the society, the nation, to your workplace, that is what HR is. HR is not a department. It is how you lead a life with high value system. LinkedIn में आप लोग जब यूज करते हैं, thoughts डालते हैं या कुछ भी किसी को कनेक्ट करते हैं, when you connect people, you go back and see them, how do you use technology? Elon Musk, everybody follows. How many of you follow Elon Musk? He said the biggest threat to the future is technology and AI. Somebody is using and enabling it. So the idea for all of you, and I'll cut it short, is your value system high? आपके पास कोई पानी रख के गया कि आपने उसको thank you बोला? Do you go back and say thank you to your parents each day for bringing you to life? If you all are not doing it, none of us are HR. I think we are discussing a weak topic here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Mr. D'Souza, would you speak? Yeah, John. Would you speak from your heart, or would you like me to give you some clue so that? Yeah. See, there is a debate and there is a fight between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So, can you take us a stand here that yes, industry can survive without human intelligence, with artificial intelligence? The future industry can do better if we embark on artificial intelligence. Can you take a stand?
So I'll try, and Ashish, well spoken. I mean, for a moment, मुझे लगा कि इसमें कुछ Hindi, and if I try to speak Hindi, my strilling pulling will become a competition, right? So I was so worried. I mean, obviously trying to change, and thankfully comes back to English, and then he goes to Bengali. So thank you for that. My life is easy. I don't know what gender the bottle is in Hindi, but I do know that engineering. Lopan Damani is train engine is what I know in the first one, which many people do not, right? Okay, so I have actually stopped reading the papers first of all, right? I mean, what you have seen in my introduction here, I liked it because nobody at home addresses me like that. His father addresses him, Achar. Right, it feels good when you come to campus and you hear about all these things. But at the end of the day, I think there will be about 30-40 people in HR out of the batch, and the remaining will reintroduce HR once they start working, right? The fact of the matter is, I probably passed out from a tier 3, which is not there and nobody has read it. But like Ashish rightly said, and I'm taking some cues, that if you have the passion, the energy, and the way, and you keep changing yourself, which is adaptability, or reinventing yourself, I think don't bother of how the future will turn out. For me, and I have been a victim to trying to predict the future or trying to invest for the future, saying आज मैं sacrifice करूँगा कल के लिए जीऊँगा, and if I live way back in 14, so I'm a proper victim of a burnout, right? Let me also tell you that when 20 doctors told me to go and operate, it is yoga which saved me, which means there's so much in our own culture that India will keep reinventing itself. And like Ashish, I'm a bloody proud Indian. I chose not to go anywhere international because I love this country. And I feel sad that, advanced countries are able to pull out our brains and because it's advanced. But the fact of the matter is that don't read the papers. First of all, stay grounded to what you want to do in life. The roads will come.
John, are you asking for newspapers or research papers?
Research papers I do read. So I do read research papers. Newspapers, news channels. I think. Secondly, it's not a fight between technology and humans, right? In the old age, there were tools. In the new age, there are tools. The ages have changed, right? Adopt it. I'll give an example in HR, my own journey. I love technology. Talked about IoT, big data. I will talk more about that in HR. But the simple reason is it's making people more efficient and it's creating more jobs. It is creating jobs that people like you in the future are going to have a better lifestyle than your parents, than their parents, right? Today you come to Mumbai, you can take a car and go and watch a movie, right? It's all technology. Right? You don't have to go into a movie scene. You can actually sit in Geo World and right? Look at what data is doing to hinterland of India, Bharat. It is crazy. You are getting home chefs who are on YouTube. The person who comes to cook food at my place can cook better pasta than anyone because she learns it on YouTube. Right? It's the adoption and how you're using it is very, very important. I think the fear which has been created, it's more socialist in nature than progressionist. I think we need to have a progressive mentality to how we adopt technology. Third is, in any discipline you do, you have to learn to use technology to improve that discipline. Being it washless urinals to, when COVID happened, touchless dispensers, it's all technology at the end of the day. So the fear is that, what is an opportunity? If you embrace something, it's an opportunity. If you fear something, it's a challenge. Right? The challenge is that it's here. It's only between the 2 years. If you're able to solve it, great. Lastly, my view on HR today and tomorrow, it's not an HR challenge. It's a leadership challenge. Leaders have been groomed in a particular way for so many years in the industrial revolution that people are not resources, they are a cog in the wheel. So they have to come in and go on time, and there's going to be policing and so on and so forth. It's going to be piece rate and all of that. I think the challenge for all of us in all our functions is going to be leadership. It's HR. HR is there to support you in whichever form. If you cannot lead your people in a human manner, you don't deserve to be a leader. If you cannot lead people without giving a policy or a process on the face, you cannot take a leadership position. Right? Yes, you have to say a no. There are times I will be unashamed to say a no, it can't be done. Keeping in mind the business, not keeping in mind the policy. And it's not wrong to say a no. I think we are afraid to say a no to many people in life, which is why we draft policies, processes, and all the works. Right? It's being honest. So, 3 rounds to it is that, 1, please adopt AI, please adopt technology. That's the future for India. We'll be a superpower, for sure. Second is, understand your path, not the Instagram path which your friends are following, because life is glamorous on Instagram. In reality, life is worth living and enjoying. Right? Third is, HR will evolve. I don't know how it will evolve. I hope I'm part of HR when it evolves, or I should be in technology, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that we are gifted with a great life. Enjoy the journey, not the destination.
Nice. So nicely articulated by you.
I have time to speak because my wife is speaking in the morning, so I have to sex.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah. Now, Ravi, see, there are who are all very much well aware about this particular thing, transition from staff function to line function. Line function is the demand of the day. Everybody is talking. Is it because of HR has transformed into a line function? That's why you are feeling technology is more important to drive it, to make it more efficient. What's wrong if it is staff function? How we can? Yeah, please. Staffing, the tradition of HR practices, functions, being guided by policies and rules. Line function is more about operations, catering to market demands. And accordingly, HR is evolving to understand the needs of the employees, customers. HR is more about dealing with customers also, and then accordingly preparing employees. So do you think that AI, ML, and IoT, all those things, have come into picture because they have to make HR operationally fit? Is it clear?
I got the question. Thank you very much. Erstwhile, when we started our careers in HR, in Wipro or whatever organization that the respected panel members hail from, I believe there was always emphasis on data, efficiency, productivity, having things organized, having things in a structured way, right? So that time, AI, ML, I don't think we had heard of that much. But yes, if you had to watch a Terminator movie, AI already was there, right? I'm a big fan of movies. So data was always there. I mean, technology was always evolving when we were speaking as well. Okay. HR is now not looked at as a support function. as a liability or as a non-revenue generator function. I don't know if you guys are under the assumption that HR has less work. Okay, if you have to prepare a balance sheet where assets are tagged in one side and liabilities are kept on one side, so support functions will come under liabilities. I am sorry, HR is not like that. HR is all about supporting the business. How well can we ensure that the business that we are supporting, eventually it is all about revenue, right? We want to be profitable, and the current entrepreneurs and the startup owners, they don't look at a 10% or a 5% or a 15% growth year on year. They look at 2x, 3x, 4x revenue. They don't look at revenue, they look at valuation. So it's all keeping in mind how well can we support the business that we are hired for. Eventually, for example, why am I looking at data, for example? It's a simple example, which, I mean, as HRs, you may not even think about it. I needed to buy a group medical policy for everyone in my organization. I didn't have maternity policy. We had to introduce it for the employees and for the spouse as well of the employee. I didn't have the average age group for all my employees of 2,000 employees that I had. We had not introduced system. Had I been a TCS, had I been a Cognizant or a Capgemini, we are mature organizations, right? We've been in existence for the last 20, 25 years. And our systems are so mature that systems have that data. For any new organization, they realize the importance of having a system, a process, right from first year. They're willing to spend that kind of money. Why? Because an organization will not worry about group medical. I have to get the right talent from the market, right? And the talent that will join me will always look and will ask me questions. Oh, what kind of medical policy do you have? Are you covering my parents as well, for whom there is no medical insurance from outside? Are you giving me employee assistance programs, opportunities and data as well? And do you have the best of the best systems on which I can ensure that I can have my learning management system, my online virtual trainings as well? So, for example, have you heard about MOOCs, massive open online courses, which are extremely helpful and influential? Where did that come from? Technology, data, emphasis on data. Imagine, I mean, for me to do a HR business partner certification program, I will always look at an Elsevier, which is a 4-day program, or some other people analytics or HR analytics courses, right? I can get similar courses done from MOOCs as well. Upgrade is offering me similar courses as well, right? So I think Terence highlighted one important point, which I wanted to thank him for: agility, capability building. Why are we building agility? Why are we looking at building capability to service the business better, right? Why is India considered to be the nation of startups? Why are we saying that we have more and more of unicorns? To do that, will you have manual labor, paper systems? You would need to have technology. You would need to have best of the best systems. And guys, people like you and me who have taken this profession of being in HR, these are the minds who are doing this, right? An entrepreneur like a Subhash Agarwal will not come and tell me, हाँ इसका हो रहा है क्या? इसका leave attendance capture हो रहा है क्या? He doesn't have that time. He's appointed the best brains who will be doing that in HR. Understanding technology, understanding system, and implementing that will come from a human mind. Artificial intelligence is all about mimicking how a human can think. I don't know, can they assess and understand a human's emotion, what a person goes through? What is the decision that needs to be taken if there's a difficult situation, if there are political parties right at your door talking about some labor cases? I mean, I don't think an AI can do that till now. I wish I can have that AI guy dealing with these guys, the manual guys, labor guys, immediately. So that is why we need technology. That is why we need to adopt systems, processes. And guys, HRs will do that. You guys will be I foresee a future where you guys will also be generating revenue in some part, in some months of the entire year that you will spend in the organization, because till the time you don't know how business is done, you can't be an HR business partner. I know that, yes, if I hire a certain resource, what is the cost that I'm hiring that person at? What is the kind of revenue that the person has generated? What are the kind of talent that I have to tap and retain? employee engagement, retention, talent management, 9 grid, whatever that concept that you want to think about will all happen when you understand and you have systems in place. And to understand what is the system that you need to introduce, how do you need to design that, you still need human brains, okay? An average brain like me or a below average brain can still think of that, provided you have the intent of doing that.
Yes, Ravi. Nicely pointed out. I think I am thankful to you that you have taken us to the subject of talent acquisition. So I request Mr. Rajesh to let us go for the second round. And can you please highlight the
For the benefit of everyone, I want to pick up a technical subject and make it, explain in a very simplified manner. HR for tomorrow, as professionals, as leaders, we have to look at 5 elements very closely. The whole concept of work, the concept of workplace, concept of worker or employee, the emphasis on well-being, and finally, from an employee standpoint, what is in it for me? Now, if I were to just move on from where he finished, the talent pool is definitely changing. In my earlier conversation, I said that we have a multi-generational workforce and Generation Z is on the rise. However, we should also see that the talent pool is changing. I was speaking with Ashish during the journey and I was really shocked, Hitesh and I, to know that Elsevier has 80,000 employees in India. 80,000 employees in the logistics business in India. That is 4 times of Deloitte India's headcount, or maybe more than that. We would be more popularly known probably, but 80,000 headcount and they have 400 people in HR. My goodness. I mean, who could imagine that Elsevier has 400 people in HR, which is more than maybe a workforce of any other organization. So talent pool is changing. What we could never think of, new people are coming into the workforce. I mean, it may be a little odd example, but the cook who come into the lady who comes into my house in the morning at 7:30 a.m., she also drives an auto rickshaw during the day. And then again in the evening she comes to cook. Now, the talent pool is definitely changing. And whether it is VFast, Porter, Zomato, and all of these new talent that have come in the market, they never existed before. But now, so one is we should know that the talent pool is changing. The generations, we are dealing with multi-generations. HR cannot service everybody. Whoever served all this glass, pani, these are all luxuries. When I went to US 12 years ago with the CEO of that US company, he said, Rajesh, should you like to have coffee? I said, okay. So he took me around in the office. We came to the pantry area and he said, there might be a mug over there, sugar here, coffee here. Okay, you can just take. I was actually searching for a mug. I couldn't find it. Maybe for some reason it wasn't there. But the Western culture is completely self-serviced, and that's what HR needs to transition into. Okay? Like if you go to a restaurant, he'll first give paper napkin, then he'll serve water, then he'll serve plate, then he'll bring another plate, then he'll give finger ball, then he'll give napkin. उस बीच में अगर कुछ accident हो गया तो हम उसको सुनाएंगे. Correct? So the more you service the individual like this, the more your quality gets affected and HR gets a bad name. Today we are moving to a generation, a time when it has to be self-service. Okay? So I'll give 5 sentences and I'll close. One is HR now has to get the organization into a self-service model and not a serving model. You have to create platforms where people have to do things themselves. Like we do our employee engagements, they do it themselves. We provide the platform. Our reward and recognition, we provide the platform, they do the R&R. We don't gather everybody together. The other thing is work is changing. What work was earlier being done by, say, chartered accountants is now being done by graduates. What work was being done by certain
class of engineers is now done by graduate. So work is shifting. When work shifts, the cost of doing that work also reduces. So as HR, we should be aware about it, because then only we'll be able to contribute to the business. The third thing is, we should know that work is where the worker is. Earlier, worker used to go to the work. Now work is coming to the worker, right? In the work from home or the hybrid model. And there is actually a death of office. Eventually, office will only be a collaboration or a charging point for you to come and meet and then go back. We will soon see the death of a physical office. And last 2 points, well-being. All good organizations today are focusing not just on wellness, but they are also focusing on well-being. And every HR of tomorrow will have to focus on the well-being of an employee and not just wellness. And today, we may say that there are a lot of medicines. Tomorrow, probably the digital might be the best medicine, because everything is getting digital. And last point is, ये सब ठीक है. Employee will say, what is in it for me? Are you aware? Industry is suffering with more than 25% attrition. In certain businesses, it's more than 40% attrition. And even from large organizations, branded organizations, people are leaving. Are you aware that people are getting 40 to 70% hikes nowadays when they change a job? Are you aware that when people come to interviews with us, they already say that I have 2 offers and I'm still evaluating you. So the candidate already has 2 offers. Now, in this kind of a scenario, when they say, what is in it for me? I feel that maybe some of us might take a bold step and say, I want to recreate my employee value proposition. And what is it that I want to offer to my employee? And I read something very interesting in a Gartner article, which said that, can you provide exceptional life experience? Not just some facilities, features, infrastructure, like sir, he mentioned insurance, mediclaim, parental. वो अभी पुराना हो गया. You are working with us. What can I do to provide you an exceptional life experience? If HR can think about it, no, then I think it can change the world of not just HR but the business.
Yeah, nice. Nicely articulated, Rajesh. So,
Can I just take from where Rajesh said?
yeah, welcome.
So he made a very important point, right? The workforce is changing. There's a huge generation gap that we see, right? So we have people who are slightly older, people who are Gen Z, and then you have the millennials. And all of them have different experiences, right? So for them, and Rajesh said that you need to create an experience for an employee, right? But every employee, for each employee, an experience will be different, right? What may be fair to you may be unfair to me. Right? If for any reason my colleague is being given flexi working hours, for whatever reason, right, she feels it's fair because there is a need. As her colleague, I may feel it's unfair because why do I need to be in office for 16 hours, right? So we need to be mindful of these things as HR professionals, right? Fair necessarily need not mean equal. They are 2 different things. Okay? Employee experiences have to be structured in a way that you create moments that matter in the lives of employees. Right? If you can do that, that will be true employee experience. Take into consideration, like he said, we are moving from physical to hybrid to maybe work from home or virtual, right? So employee experiences will consist obviously of the physical space, the technology that you use, right? So you bring in R&R, etc., and culture. It's a combination of these. Rajesh also mentioned that you should be able to connect with business and you should be able to kind of talk to business, work in different functions, know what they are doing. So this I feel is very, very important, and you generally classify them as T-shaped skills, right? So your ability to have deep expertise. So obviously you have to be conceptually very strong, but you should also have the ability to work in cross-disciplinary teams, and you need to build that ability, right? third point that I would like to make is that as HR professionals, bear in mind that employees, especially millennials, right, and they generally would have a sense of entitlement and they're quite fragile and would need to be dealt in that manner. So as HR professionals, while you need to have good IQ and good EQ, and now SQ social quotient is also there. There is another quotient that I would like to introduce. There is somewhere is AQ, which is adversity quotient. So your ability to deal with adversity and your ability to deal with adversity that your colleagues and the organization could face, right? And that's what I would like to do. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I request you to say something, to throw light on something? Okay. See, because we are deviating sometimes from the theme that is AI/ML. AI/ML is a mean to improve the operations, improving the service quality. How far it is going to help to improve the life of employees, as you all are talking about wellness and well-being, how it is going to contribute to their development, and how it is going to help us to improve service quality operations.
Thank you for asking that question. I was thinking what to say because इतने अच्छे लोगों ने इतनी अच्छी बातें करी है, पर सब अच्छी बातें अच्छी नहीं, मैं सच्ची बातें करूँगा. अच्छी बातें तो अच्छी लगती है, सच्ची बातें अच्छी लगती है. So for me, the question which he asked, AI/ML is important. We were using WhatsApp, Facebook. Nowadays, we did not have that. The AI/ML will facilitate us, improve us, make us better. In a 3P concept, 3P employee के लिए भी, 3P employer के लिए भी. What is 3P? So P is people, P is your purpose, and P is your productivity. Now, if you look 3P in employee perspective and employer perspective, AI/ML will make different impacts. अब आपको घर से बैठ के काम करना है, AI/ML 3P. Employer को घर पे बुलाना, ऑफिस में बुलाना है, उसके लिए वो facilitation. So there are different purpose to different AI. I got a call last couple of weeks back from Professor Suman, and she told me you have to come. मैं बोला बिना पर्पस के तो मैं कुछ भी नहीं करता. आधा मारवाड़ी हूँ, आधा बंगाली हूँ. तो मैं तो बिना पर्पस के कुछ नहीं करता. तो बोले क्या पर्पस ढूंढे? So I have a purpose. Specifically when we come here, success और पर्पस का बहुत समानांतर. How do we look at success? Some people will be here, becoming CEO. Some will be becoming entrepreneurs. AI/ML, they will use. I'm using your term so that you feel I'm using. So,
it's not my stake, it's the stake of the conference.
So पर्पस और सक्सेस का बड़ा बहुत चोली दामन का साथ है. कुछ लोग एंटरप्रेन्योर बनेंगे, some people will become CEO, some people. कुछ लोग एम्प्लॉय बनेंगे, और वो जो एम्प्लॉयर बनेंगे उनके पास जाके बोलेंगे भाई बैचमेट था, भाई रख ले. So इससे कुछ नहीं बनेगा. सक्सेस का जो आकलन है, the parameter of success is different for each other. For me, I live a very minimalistic lifestyle. मैंने खाना बनाया, दाल रोटी खाया, मेरे लिए बढ़िया है. पनीर मिला कि नहीं मिला, वो लग्जरी है. Some people will want chicken mutton as part of luxury. So don't compare. The first thing using AI/ML, it teaches us not to compare. It gives a decisive mindset. AI/ML is a technology that helps us decision making, not to compare. कि भाई उसके पास तो ये है, किसके पास आईफोन है, जरा हाथ उठाना. ताली बजाओ इन मानूंगा. So this is luxury. They could afford. See, these people are not to be taunted. They are brand. They are teaching us. Our parents did something, and that is why we could buy and afford an iPhone. Can you do something and enable your kids to have an iPhone when they go to college? This is how aspiration builds up, right? And the last point is, which purpose for me is courage. Ultimately, do you feel self? The HR for tomorrow enables employees to feel courageous. कि आप जहां पे आए वहां पे खड़े होके जैसे आप हो वैसे आपको एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है कि नहीं. If you are not accepted and HR is not accepting you, whether you are LGBT, whether you are a transgender, whichever sexual, whatever your clothes are, whatever shoes are you wearing, are you accepted? HR for tomorrow is acceptability. I give an offering for all of you. I run a Super 30 model, and this is my purpose. I am here. All of you can go back to LinkedIn, post a story where you feel courageous, where you accepted failure, and tag me. In this Super 30 model, which I'm running for last 2 years, I've identified 9 people from various colleges across India. I personally mentor them. मेरा होता है कि यहाँ पे आए लोग बोले, बहुत अच्छे लोग आए, बहुत अच्छे लोग बोल के गए, अच्छे लोग खाते भी हैं, फिर भूल जाते हैं. तो बोलना और खाना वैसे ही होता है कि इसका रिटेंशन बहुत कम होता है. For us as HR professionals, I have an offering. Somebody whose story I like and you tag me, you will get personally mentored for you throughout your life by me. Thank you.
We have to conclude as far as possible after you to speak. Can you please highlight when we are talking about technologies in business operations and the management decision, how far it is important for the managers to have T-shaped profile? It's a very buzzword we use everywhere. So what is the importance of T-shaped profile of the corporate executives?
So how many minutes? 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
So first of all, Ashish, pick up 2. I'll join again with you. I don't mind, doing something. I think great initiative from you. I think when I started HR, I didn't have right? So fantastic. So I am a believer of the T-shaped concept. I think there's a study, like research. So there's a study by David Deming from Harvard Business School. If I got the name right, he speaks about that the new generation, all of you all, and some of us, will have 7 careers in our life, not 7 jobs, 7 careers. Right? So what it simply means is you could do HR today, you could do tech tomorrow, you could do sales the after, and it's the agility by which you can change. Because something which I believe which will come in 20 years, if not now, is universal basic income is going to come. I mean, I'm fixated on the idea that people who want to work should work and people who can't work should yet have a decent lifestyle, because that's what humanity is about, right? So he speaks about communication, communicate any language, networking, which is going to create the future of jobs and hence skills, not competencies. I think skilling and self-skilling is very, very important. Right? Look at what Rajesh said. A maid in the morning, or a chef in the morning, home chef in the morning, driving an auto in the afternoon and doing something else. If people go to work, society will be similar. Else wealth is of no use. Right? So our aim in HR should be to ability to push people into jobs, for whatever job, and create dignity of labor. I think India has been missing dignity of labor. You go to the US, I've seen a 60-year-old in McDonald's. Very happy. Dignity of labor. Happy with what they do. I think our culture has not given or spoken about dignity of labor. People like me are semi-successful speaking about it. But you guys are the future leaders. Whether it's somebody serving you tea, coffee, that person should be respected for the job. He should not be labeled ki coffee wala. We can do something else tomorrow. Learn to respect people. Remove the coffee, remove the food for 1 week. Look at your productivity. You will not be able to operate. That's what happened to people in COVID. One of the most fragile generations is the last 2 years is Generation Z, because in COVID, no connect, nobody will serve you. Entitled generation, I don't know. But I think AI, ML is giving people new opportunities. Tech is giving people opportunities to skill faster, do better jobs. We need to respect these people, not create victims that we want to kill businesses because one Zomato guy started to food. वो तो पुराना सब लोग कर रहे थे. And the food was tasty at that time, but we just now have a technology where we post it, right? It's wrong. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to learn to give dignity of labor to everyone. That is something we have not learned as a culture. And it hurts, right? Because people need to have jobs which make them feel good at the end. Right? And most people leave jobs because their neighbors don't, or their neighbors, or when they go for marriage matches and all that, कि ये job बेकार है, इससे शादी करो. What nonsense is that? So that's my start.
Thank you, John, very much. Now I have the last question to Mr. Ravi Anand. Last question. Then you have to conclude. Because three gentlemen in between, in the middle, they have talked about culture. So when you are talking about culture, strategy, these are all very much closely related. Technology, robotization, mechanization. How these concepts can help us to survive our culture of the organization. Do you think that robotization killing culture, or is it going to be a facilitator to revive organizational culture in the future organizations?
Culture in an organization, culture in a family, culture in a certain caste, culture in a certain state, or the entire country, right? Or the Chola dynasty, or the Dravidians. Culture was made by humans, right? Certain practices based on social science or the kind of work that they were doing, and certain practices and the way they were behaving and interacting, that create a certain culture, right? And it came, however, with the way they were interacting, with the way they were behaving, there were mistakes, there were observations, and there were course corrections, and that is how people who ruled those dynasties and those countries, they modified, they made a few changes, and they tweaked these changes in their culture, right? That is why a few rulers and a few kings are still remembered that what a king, I mean, he had the best way of dealing with people, right? Culture in an organization, I mean, coming strictly to the point and the topic that I have to answer your question. Culture, there are cultures, I mean, in an organization, culture is written, you know that, right? I mean, when we initiate or when we create an organization, when it is formed, culture is written on a piece of paper and then introduced and implemented. Culture flows downwards from the leadership and it goes till the bottom, right? How to make culture and what are the best practices that have really worked well in different organizations? AI, ML, these are, I mean, ML is all input data, right? And input data, that is, but there is no output. I mean, आप जो data उसमें डालोगे उससे ही आपको बहुत सारी चीजें मिलेंगी execute करने के लिए. AI, ML can help you get that data. Okay, these are the best practices here. ये यहाँ ये चला है, and of course through books, through what you say, I mean, research papers and a lot of things. But culture can get you, AI, ML can get you data points to design and define a great culture, which is idealistic, buy the book. Okay, but when you actually have to implement a great culture, you need a strong leader. And to be a good leader, I believe that you need to have a strong character. And that character is made out of values, principles, which are instilled in you, and which you will learn from your home, from your friends, your parents, and of course, life teaches you a lot of things. So yes, AI, ML, and all these systems and data, extremely important. They'll get you data points. For example, in TCS, I'll give you an example of what great culture is, right? And how do I have that data? That data is being shared with you, that reference is being shared by someone who's worked there, right? There was someone who was identified with HIV. HIV is never covered in Medicare. That gentleman passed away. Okay, so that entire money was paid from Tata Trust to these old parents. They were retired. They didn't have the money to pay that money from their pocket. Within a week's time. So that's what great culture is. And even if I get an AI, ML, or any system, of course I'll be able to do a lot of justice to designing and defining a great culture. But, I mean, I have to think about Ratan Tata, JRDs, right? उनके पास तो AI, ML data नहीं था. But, I mean, the new generation will have. They've done something. They had a great character. I mean, they had values, principles that they've lived their life throughout. That is why these great leaders with great strong characters have built great cultures. of course, AI ML will come there, but along with that, you need great human beings with great characters and who have great leadership skills to define, and not just a culture is written in the book in a piece of paper, but to live that. Preaching is easy, practicing is difficult. That's what I want.
Thank you, Ravi. So we are running out of time, so we do not have much time to conclude, take everybody's qualitative inputs in this particular conference. So I'll say very grateful to all of you to contribute heavily to run this discussion, and then I hope the students have learned a lot of good points. So you have given a message to the students that technology is all about adaptability. So technology can never replace human intelligence. So, and organization evolves through our practices. So with this message, I just cut short and once again conveying thanks to all the panelists here. And thank you very much for the audience patience. They have listened to you. And I think some good points they have noted down in their notebooks and they will follow in their classrooms and their preparation for their journey to corporate life. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
So if the learners want to ask any questions, so we'll be taking 2 questions.
One now.
Okay, one.
Because of time, I didn't ask.
Over there.
Yeah, please. Can you pass on this?
Hello, esteemed panelists. My name is Shreya, and my question is specifically for Terence, sir. So, sir, sir, you mentioned about how the HRs of tomorrow have to transform from gatekeepers to game changer. So, as an aspiring HR, I at least kept on hearing that today we live in this VUCA world, and I kept on hearing from my professors, from my peers, that in order to meet this VUCA requirements, you have to meet the volatility with the vision, the ambiguity with the agility, and the complexity with the clarity, and whatnot. But this is what we were told what to do. But we were never been told how to do these things. So, how would you suggest someone who wants to be an HR of tomorrow to deal with this VOCA requirements of today?
Firstly, these people are very upset that you chose me. But, so, yeah, very good question. Thank you for that. Right, and you're right. We were looked upon as gatekeepers, but that is changing. And this, like I said, this is an opportunity, true opportunity for us to be gatekeepers. And we spoke about a lot of things, right, in terms of T-shaped skills, for example. Very important. So while you may build your conceptual framework in HR, which is very important, and you should be good with HR frameworks and concepts, but in order to be successful, in order to become game changers, you will also have to build a lot of other attributes and skills. The ability to influence business will determine how successful a game changer you are. And to do that, obviously, there are various things that you have to do. You have to understand the business that you're in, you have to understand finance, you have to do with numbers. So these are just, I'm just keeping it very simple. These are basic things that you all will have to kind of be good at, right? So on the softer aspects, you will have to, I spoke about IQ, EQ, SQ, EQ, right? So what is IQ? IQ is comprehension, correct? EQ is your character, right? So your value system that you have and your ability to kind of deal with employees, etc. SQ is charisma. Right? How are you in terms of the social environment? And I spoke about AQ, which is adversity quotient. Your ability to deal with your own adversity and the adversity that your colleagues, your peers, personal life, professional life is extremely critical. And a whole lot is going to change in that aspect. We've seen it in the past 2 years. As HR professionals, we probably spend 10, 12 hours just worrying about how our colleagues are doing, taking care of them, their families. It went to a whole different level. Right? And all of that is going to change in the future. From a personal kind of an environment to a professional environment, right? From colleagues to even businesses to even functions, right? So your ability to deal with AQ over there will be very, very important. Be a hero. Let me just round it up by saying that, right? And when I say that, a HR hero, so one is humility, two is empathy, have respect, and be open-minded. Don't be closed to options. Let things happen, they'll fall in place. Don't worry about AI taking over your role. Yeah, nobody can take away the human in HR. Remember that. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for the insightful discussion. I think each and everyone has gained knowledge, not just the HRs, every branches. There was a lot of knowledge that we could have acquired from the discussion that happened here. So thank you so much, panel, and also Goswami sir. Thank you so much.